It's time for Bible Trivia.
Today, we're going to be asking you questions from Exodus. Level 1. The first question is for 100 points.
What is the name of Moses' mother? A. Miriam, B. Leah, C. Deborah, or D. Jochebed? The answer is D. Jochebed.
The next question is for 200 points. Who does the Passover lamb represent? Is it A. Jesus Christ, B. Israelites, C. Moses, or D. Aaron? The answer is A. Jesus Christ. The next question is for 300 points. What was the name of Moses' sister? Is it A. Deborah, B. Malame, C. Miriam, or D. Marame? The answer is C. Miriam. The next question is for 400 points. For how long was Moses hid in his father's house? Is it A. 3 years, B. 1 year, C. 3 months, or D. 18 months? The answer is C. 3 months. The next question is for 500 points. What was the name of the king that God sent Moses to? Is it A. Negus, B. Pharaoh, C. Nebuchadnezzar, or D. Herod? The answer is B. Pharaoh. The next question is for 600 points. What was the name of Moses' brother? Is it A. Aaron, B. Joseph, C. Abraham, or D. Eliezer? The answer is A. Aaron. The next question is for 700 points. What was the name of Moses' wife? A. Zelophehad, B. Zipporah, C. Josephida, or D. Miriam? The answer is B. Zipporah. The next question is for 800 points. Which country was Moses' wife from? Is it A. Israel, B. Nigeria, C. Babylon, or D. Ethiopia? The answer is D. Ethiopia. The next question is for 900 points. How old was Moses when he was fully adopted and given a name? Is it A. 1 year old, B. Unknown, C. 3 years old, or D, 7 years old? The answer is B, unknown. The next question is for 1,000 points. What was the name of Moses' father? A. Adam, B. Amram, C. Jehoram, or D. Purim? The answer is B. Amram. Level 2. The next question is for 100 points. How many years did the Israelites stay in Egypt? A. 400 years, B. 410 years, C. 430 years, or D. 550 years? The answer is C. 430 years. The next question is for 200 points. What is the name of the bread that God gave to Israel in the wilderness? Is it A. Food, B. Flour, C. Yeast, or D. Manna? The answer is D. Manna. The next question is for 300 points. What is the color of the manna? Is it A. Purple, B. Brown, C. Yellow, or D. White? The answer is D. White. The next question is for 400 points. What seed resembles the manna? A. Coriander, B. Mustard, C. Canola, or D. Pea? The answer is A. Coriander. The next question is for 500 points. Which country did God promise to destroy when Moses built an altar and named it Jehovah Nissi? Is it A. Philistines, B. Egypt, C. Amalek, or D. Gibeon? The answer is C. Amalek. The next question is for 600 points. What is written on Aaron's crown? Is it A. Holiness, B. Holiness to the Lord, C. Fear God, or D. High Priest? The answer is B. Holiness to the Lord. The next question is for 700 points. God led the Israelites in the wilderness using pillars of what? A. Promise and power, B. Day and night, C. Cloud and fire, or D. Water and manna? The answer is C. Cloud and fire. The next question is for 800 points. Who are two midwives who disobeyed Pharaoh's command to kill Israel's boys? A. Shiphrah and Puah. B. Miriam and Deborah. C. Zipporah and Zipporah. Or D. Miriam and Jochebed. The answer is A. Shiphrah and Puah. The next question is for 900 points. What does the manna taste like? A. Water. B. Salt. C. Honey. Or D. Cucumber. The answer is C. Honey. The next question is for 1,000 points. The frog plague was the A. Fourth plague, B. Sixth plague, C. Second plague, or D. Seventh plague. The answer is C. Second plague. Level 3. The next question is for 100 points. On what mountain did Moses receive the law from God? A. Mount Olives. B. Mount Sinai. C. Mount Elim. Or D. Mount Carmel. The answer is B. Mount Sinai. The next question is for 200 points. The sixth plague God cast on the Egyptians has to do with A. Emeralds. B. Dead fish. C. Boils. Or D. Fever. The answer is C. Boils. The next question is for 300 points. Who was Aaron's wife? A. Elisheba. B. Unknown. C. Zoe-Badhab. Or D. Miriam. The answer is A. Elisheba. The next question is for 400 points. While in Egypt, the Jews lived at A. Ramesses, B. Goshen, C. Canaan, or D. Nile. The answer is B. Goshen. The next question is for 500 points. The commandment not to have any other God was what commandment? A. First. B. Third. C. Fifth. Or D. Second. The answer is A. First. The next question is for 600 points. What chapter of Exodus is the Ten Commandments listed? A. Chapter 20, B. Chapter 1, C. Chapter 15, or D. Chapter 12? The answer is A. Chapter 20. The next question is for 700 points. Honor your father and mother was what commandment? A. Fifth, B. Fourth, C. Third, or D. Sixth? The answer is A. Fifth. The next question is for 800 points. Thou shalt not steal was which commandment? A. Third, B. Sixth, C. Eighth, or D. Seventh? The answer is C. Eighth. The next question is for 900 points. Turning water into blood was the blank blank the Lord sent on Egypt. Is it A. the fourth plague, B. third plague, C. sixth plague, or D. first plague? The answer is D. First plague. The next question is for 1000 points. Thou shalt not commit adultery was which commandment? A. Seventh, B. Fourth, C. Sixth, or D. Fifth? The answer is A. Seventh. Level 4. The next question is for 100 points. Which of the following Bible passages contains the crossing of the Red Sea? A. Exodus 14, B. Exodus 21, C. Exodus 2, or D. Exodus 12? The answer is A. Exodus 14. The next question is for 200 points. The holiday to celebrate Israel's deliverance from Egypt is called A. Trumpets, B. Pentecost, C. Purim, or D. Passover? The answer is D. Passover. The next question is for 300 points. The feast of the Israelites that happens after the Passover is the feast of A. Second Passover, B. Celebration, C. Weeks, or D. Dedication? The answer is C. Weeks. The next question is for 400 points. The Feast of Ingathering of Wheat Harvest is the same as the Feast of A. Second Passover, B. Celebration, C. Weeks, or D. Dedication. The answer is C. Weeks. The next question is for 500 points. Where is this statement written in Exodus? There shall nothing cast their young, not be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. A. 23:26, B. 12:3, C. 4:16, or D. 24:24. The answer is A. 23:26. The next question is for 600 points. Who composed this song? I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. A. Moses, B. Aaron, C. Jethro, or D. Miriam. The answer is D. Miriam. The next question is for 700 points. The first water the Israelites found after crossing the Red Sea was called A. Mara, B. Sinai, C. Nile, or D. Rehoboth. The answer is A. Mara. The next question is for 800 points. The waters of Mara was so called because they were A. Bitter, B. Sweet, C. Bittersweet, or D. Polluted. The answer is A. Bitter. The next question is for 900 points. The wilderness between Elim and Sinai was called A. Hephzibah, B. Sin, C. Mara, or D. Moria. The answer is B. Sin. The next question is for 1,000 points. What is the name of Moses' first son? A. Aaron, B. Eliezer, C. Gershom, or D. Zipporah. The answer is C. Gershom. Level 5. The next question is for 100 points. Which of the following is true about Rephidim? A. There was water. B. There was no food. C. There were 12 palm trees. Or D. There was no water. The answer is D. There was no water? The next question is for 200 points. What name did Moses give to the place where he first smote the rock and water came out? A. Moriah, B. Massah and Meribah, C. Sinai, or D. Jordan? The answer is B. Massah and Meribah. The next question is for 300 points. Who visited Moses in Exodus 18? A. Aaron, his brother, B. Miriam, his sister, C. Jethro, his father-in-law, or D. Hur, the prophet? The answer is C. Jethro, his father-in-law. The next question is for 400 points. Two men assisted Moses while Joshua fought against the Amalek. Who were these two people? A. Aaron and Hur, B. Aaron and Miriam, C. Aaron and Eleazar, or D. Caleb and Joshua? The answer is A. Aaron and Hur. The next question is for 500 points. From what type of wood did God tell Moses to make the Ark of the Covenant? A. Gopher, B. Shittim, C. Cedar, or D. Timber? The answer is B. Shittim. The next question is for 600 points. How many curtains were used to make the tabernacle in the wilderness? A. 12, B. 5, C. 8, or D. 10? The answer is D. 10. The next question is for 700 points. Which of the following is not part of the priest's garment? A. Mantle, B. Mitre, C. Ephod, or D. Breastplate? The answer is A. Mantle. The next question is for 800 points. Which of the following people was not a priest? A. Ithamar, B. Eleazar, C. Elihu, or D. Nadab? The answer is C. Elihu. The next question is for 900 points. What were Bezaleel and Aholiab known for in the wilderness? A. Wisdom and understanding, B. Fighting in war, C. Sacrifice and offering, or D. Songs and worship? The answer is A. Wisdom and understanding. The next question is for 1,000 points. Throughout the Israelites' wilderness journeys, what was upon their tabernacle every night? A. Cloud, B. Angels, C. Fire, or D. Cherubim? The answer is C. Fire. Thanks for playing Rehoboth Bible Trivia. We hope you play again soon.